Yes, okay. Well, first of all, I have great admiration for all these initiatives. I think it's wonderful to turn an idea into something that's real and existing in the world. And I don't have much to say about these initiatives, only that for 3 of them I didn't really understand the business model behind it. That's for Pablons, for Bookmetrics, but also for Overleaf. You were not clear who you were addressing, or whose wallet you were addressing.
Yeah, who's paying? That's a very good question. Shall we ask them?
Yes.
Publons was first, right? Who's paying?
Yeah. So it's definitely Publons.
Publons, sorry.
Like
Publons.
publication. It's a joke in physics, actually. Like electron, gluon, photon, Publon. But our specific revenue model is when we integrate with publishers, we charge them a fee. And we also think in the long run we can probably charge institutions. And we're piloting with the University of Queensland on that now as well. So it's free for researchers, monetize around the data to publishers and institutions.
Okay. We move to Bookmetrics. Who else but Springer as the book publisher is paying this?
At the moment, there's no other book publisher yet. We have to finish development, but then I think we sort of go the same route as Publons.
Okay, Phil?
So for Overleaf, we have essentially three revenue streams. One is it's a freemium model for researchers, so you can subscribe to it. There is also a publisher offering, which involves the integrations, which makes it easier for researchers to submit. One of the things that researchers are asking publishers to do is to make the submission process easier and simpler and less painful. So that's a service. And then also, of course, there's the data that we generate from people interacting with Overleaf and from authoring things. And so we think that that's of value. And then we also work with institutions. Stanford has been a fantastic pilot project with that. Basically, we support the collaborative network within that institution, and that's a paid-for product as well.
Okay. Let's give the other two also a chance, because it's true, but the success of a startup often greatly depends, maybe always greatly depends on the business model. Emma, what is the business model for Zapneto?
It's a subscription, so you license the technology from us, basically.
Is it very expensive?
No.
No? Oh, well.
Huge value for money. It's a fraction of what it would take for you to make it yourselves, and it's better than you could do.
Okay, very good. Meredith, what's the business model there?
Well, our business model is varied. We have a few different options. One of the ways that's most visible is that we do charge for data publication fees at the time of publication. So if an author or researcher comes and deposits, they can pay a fee at that time. We encourage our partners, though, to cover these fees on behalf of their researchers and give them payment plans that provide savings. Some of our publishers actually do this and then pass those fees on to the researchers, but that fee ultimately is a smaller amount than had they gone on their own. And some of that is because of administrative cost savings and the like.
Okay, thank you. Who else in the audience would have some really good advice for these? I have Fred here.
I don't know if this is good advice, but I think it was the hidden message of all the talks I heard this morning. You all mentioned either a specific partnership with one or more publishers, or you were embedded in a publisher, in the case of the latter two talks. But I assume, given the nature of all 5 talks and how they were pitched, that you were inviting partnerships with publishers. And if that's true, I think you should all shake your heads, and perhaps you'll have some interesting conversations afterwards.
That's a good point. Let's turn it around. Who of you is a standalone, not very dependent on cooperation with publishers? No, indeed. I think you hit the spot.
I don't think Overleaf is necessarily completely dependent because it's got those multiple streams. So we can work with institutions, we can also work directly with researchers.
Okay. Yeah. Multi-targeted.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Last chance. Anybody else? Kent, over there.
Yeah, no questions really, just an observation that all 4 of the 5 are what they call wide plays, meaning that small fees and broad adoption are necessary for the business to work. But Zapnito looks like it's a tall play, meaning that a tall play, meaning that, for instance, Nature can do many, many things on it.
Yep.
So you can have a deep customer engagement and a lot of commercial success with just 1 or 10 or 15 clients. You don't need to boil the ocean. So I think that's an interesting contrast to think through as we think about where we're going to put our money, and how and which model works better in publishing.
Which one would you tend to say?
I'll hold my vote for the voting phase.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you for making that little bridge, because then the moment of truth starts now. As I said, we'll be doing 4 questions for all of you. And please raise your hands. I'll list the questions again. The first one is very simple. Which one did you like best? It's also the most cruel one for the people here on stage. The second one is, which one would you like to work with? The third one, where would you put your money? And the last one, which one will still be around in 5 years from now? Okay, let's start with the very first one. Which one did you like best? I'll do them one by one. I'll start at the other end. Raise your hands if you like.
I know, right?
Pavlon's best.
They can't see me.
Well, not bad. Dryad. Okay. Zapnito. Bookmetrics. Overleaf. I think the winner is, and I shall now pronounce it correctly, Pavlon's, right? Okay, but liking is not the same as investing. Sharing, can we share them? Yeah. Which one would you work with as a publisher? I'll now start at this end. Overleaf. Bookmetrics. You can do more than one. You can work with all of them.
Can we start again since you said that?
Oh, I should say, okay, I'll start again. Sorry. Overleaf.
So embarrassing.
Bookmetrics. See, it looks much better in English. Zapnito. Dryad. Pavlons. I wouldn't do them. They're so good. Well, that looks like a bright future for all of you, and a busy coffee break in a minute. Now, the real, money talks best. Would you put money into it? Now, you really have to look carefully who puts up their hand. I'll start at this end now. Pavlons. Have you registered them?
Andrew at Publons.com.
Dryad. It's non-profit, so even if you would want to, it will be a bit hard. Zapnito?
Emma at zapnito.com.
Bookmetrics? Yeah, Springer paid for it already. Overleaf? Very good. Okay, and now the live or die question. Who's still around in 5 years? I'll do it from this end again. Overleaf. Bookmetrics. Zapnito. Dryad. Pavlons. Yeah, very good. Thank you for your active participation. And again, a big hand for the panelists who've done great.